mission, solving mysteries in the night. Chasing shadows, finding answers, shining bright light. No one's left behind in the darkness, all alone. With a heart like a siren, she brings the lost ones home. Silent cries in the dark no longer have to be. For justice wheels keep turning, granny on the beat. Broken voices find their power, call out hope again. With Granny's crime busters run, no victims left in vain. Bravery in her veins, truth she won't disguise. With a fire in her eyes, she's got nothing to deny. Granny fights for justice, never backs down from the call. For the voiceless and the missing, she'll stand tall.
Hello, everybody. How is everybody doing tonight? You're all having a good day. The sun is shining here. It's, I think, a little bit cooler outside, but still nice out. Typical spring day. Hello, Ginger. Good to see you. Really happy for you today. We've got quite the topic to talk about today, but before we get into all that, there was just a couple of things I wanted to share with you. And of course, the very first thing is our spotlight on the missing. And the first one is Kane McGuire. Kane has been missing since August 18th, 2024. He was last seen in Greenville, Tennessee. He's a 16-year-old male, 5 feet 9 inches tall, 164 pounds, red hair, and brown eyes. So if you know anything about Kane and his whereabouts, please call the Greenville Police Department, 911, or 1-800-GBI-FIND. And then our next one is Jermaine Sampson. Jermaine has been missing since February 13th, 2024. It's been a year for him, guys. Last seen in Memphis, Tennessee. He is a 17-year-old male, 5 feet 7 inches tall, 131 pounds, black hair, and brown eyes. If you know anything about Jermaine's whereabouts, please call the Memphis Police Department, 911, or 1-800-GBI-FIND. Our kids are important, guys, very important. We need to find these kids. Some of them may have already turned 18. Oh no. Rainy day. Hello, Katie. Good to see you. Yeah, we haven't had a lot of rain. It's kind of weird. Kind of strange. All right. There was another couple of things I wanted to go over. Some good news, guys, for a change. I'm going to read the first one here. In Pinellas County, 205 arrested, 115 children rescued in Operation Restore Justice by the Department of Justice. Isn't that awesome? More than 200 child SA offenders were arrested and 115 children. This is what I've been saying for a while, guys. These guys are getting arrested, but no children are being found. Well, we've got 115 children that were rescued as a result of Operation Restore Justice. The operation was executed over the course of 5 days by 55 FBI field offices. The Child Exploitation and Obscenity Section in the Department's Criminal Division and United States Attorney's offices around the country in a nationwide crackdown. The Department of Justice will never stop fighting to protect victims, especially child victims, and we will not rest until we hunt down, arrest, and prosecute every child predator who preys on the most vulnerable among us, said Attorney General Pamela Bondi. I am grateful to the FBI and their state and local partners for their incredible work in Operation Restore Justice and have directed my prosecutors not to negotiate. Among the 205 child SA offenders, 2 from Pinellas County were arrested and charged with federal offenses, the DOJ said. Lee Hughes, 45, from Pinellas Park, a third-grade teacher, was arrested on May 1st and charged with attempted transmission of harmful material to a minor. According to court documents, Hughes communicated with an undercover officer in an attempt to engage in SA with the undercover officer's alleged 9-year-old daughter from June 2024 to May 2025. Hughes sent the undercover officer around 10 explicit photos and or videos of himself with the request that they be shown to the alleged child, the court document stated. On May 1st, Hughes reportedly traveled to an agreed-upon location to engage in SA with the alleged child and was arrested. If convicted, Hughes faces a maximum of 10 years in federal prison. Jonathan Richmond, 30, from St. Petersburg, was arrested on a 2-count indictment and charged with receipt and possession of child SA material on May 1st, 2025. If convicted, Richmond faces a maximum of 20 years in federal prison for each count, according to the Department of Justice. Every child deserves to grow up free from fear and exploitation, said FBI Director Kash Patel. Operation Restore Justice proves that no predator is out of reach and no child will be forgotten. By leveraging the strength of all of our field officers and our federal, state, and local partners, we're sending a clear message. There is no place to hide for those who prey on children. The FBI is relentless in our pursuit of those who exploit the most vulnerable among us. Which brings me to this one. And I'm going to play it for you. It's not very long. This is the FBI Director, Kash Patel.
Our children. If you harm our children, you will be given no sanctuary. There is no place we will not come to hunt you down. There is no place we will not look for you. And there is no cage we will not put you in should you do harm to our children. The prioritization of this administration and General Bondi has made it abundantly clear to child predators, you will be hunted down and you will be prosecuted. And that is a refreshing thing to hear for the men and women who do this work tirelessly. And it's also an acknowledgement of the safety that we look forward to bringing America.
About time, right? About time. I thought that was good news. So yes, it was exciting. I was so happy because I've been reading a couple here and there, right? And 2 kids, 1 kid, and it's like, no, if you are arresting 20 people, you should have more children than that, right? If they're really trying to stop trafficking, in my opinion. And 115 children is incredible. Hi, Robin. And yes, I see what you're saying, but in that case, he was working with an undercover officer, right? So he hadn't committed the crime. He was wanting to commit the crime. So, he didn't actually physically commit that crime. But he solicited to commit that crime. Solicitation to commit is different than actually committing the crime. That's why the other guy got 20 years. And for each count that he was convicted of, and this guy only got 10 years because his was, solicitation to commit, which didn't go anywhere because it was an undercover police officer that he was, talking to. So that's a difference. And I thought the same thing as you when I first read that. I thought, 10 years, that's not enough. But then I realized, oh, it's solicitation. He didn't actually do the crime. I still question, should he be let out that early, because he was trying to solicit that, right? He did show up to do the deed. Yeah, no worries, Robin. But, I think overall, our Department of Justice really should look at sentencing guidelines for these things, and they should be, maybe taken more seriously, because it is so rampant in the United States, trafficking, SA exploitation, offending, all of that. It's gotten horrific. So in my opinion, they should really be taking these things more seriously. But hello, Brenda Joe. Good to see you. So, yeah, I think that sentencing guidelines should be tougher on these cases now, because it is so bad. But I'm only one person. I don't count. My video this morning, which one was that about? I'm trying to remember which one I did this morning. And I usually do a couple in a row, so on one day. Tell me which one you're talking about, Ginger. I think it was, what was it about? So, I think crimes against children, any crimes against children. Oh, was that the one with the kids who ran over the cyclist, Ginger? Is that the one you're talking about? And that actually wasn't, yeah. So that actually wasn't crimes against children. This was children committing crimes against a 65-year-old bicyclist. Not a motorcycle, a bicycle. He was riding to work early in the morning. And a 13-year-old was driving the car. An 11-year-old was in the passenger seat waving a pew-pew. And the 15-year-old was sitting in the back seat, egging them all on to run him over, but to slow down to 15 or 20 and just bump him. But they didn't just bump him, they ran him over. I encourage you guys, go and watch that video. It's really sad. Really sad. The 13-year-old who actually did the deed. I'm trying to remember what he got, Ginger. 10 years, I think, because he pled guilty, and the 11-year-old is out of jail right now. Can't be charged until he's 12. I mean, the whole case. Guys, just go and watch it. It's my morning videos. Right? First time I can say I'm afraid of an 11-year-old. I watched him moving that pew-pew around in his hand while he was getting all excited about running over the 65-year-old bicyclist. It was frightening. It was frightening. Yeah, it was horrible. It was horrible. So, guys, I encourage you to go watch that, because And yes, sentencing guidelines in that one, to me, the 13-year-old, they actually ended up taking the life of this man. He didn't live. And he only got 10 years. He's going to be out when he's 23. He took the life of someone, and he's going to be out when he's 23. Oh, he gets out at 21. He's 13 now. Okay. He got credit for time served or something. Yeah. He's 13. Be out when he's 21, guys. It's awful. Hello, Melissa. It's awful. So, yeah. It was horrible. So I wanted to talk about, I was sitting here today. Guys, I'm just going to say this. It's getting kind of, I'm sure that you've noticed the last few times we've done anything about Sebastian's case that we've gotten people in here that are haters. That's all I can say. Are haters. So it seems like the more views I get, which, I've been getting more views, and that's awesome. But the more views I get, the worse things are getting. And if you listen to any of the scuttlebutt that's going on out there, that side is very happy to sue, very happy to take people to court. They don't care. And it's just gotten out of control, right? So it's getting somewhat scary to even cover the case, honestly. I've been going back and forth over the last couple of days and trying to decide, should I even talk about it? But the bad thing is that then Sebastian loses, right? And that's exactly, in my opinion, what I think some people want. Now, mind you, I would never stop sharing my shorts every day because I do have a heart toward the missing, right? And Sebastian more than any of them, even though all of them matter, right? They all matter. I thought, I was sitting here thinking, and I thought, how did this spiral happen, right? When did everything go spiraling out of control? And so I began thinking about different things that happened in the case early on. And one of the first things that I can think of is Chris's anger. That came out early on, didn't it? After they started doing interviews, all of a sudden we had Chris's anger coming out. And I think that's the thing that triggered everything, was his anger. It triggered a lot of people, right? Oh, everybody had something to say about it, right? It was pretty bad. But then you look at all the their inconsistencies, right? I mean, seriously, if we go back and we take a look at the red flags in our case, right? I have been doing some video editing behind the scenes on that case, so we will be talking about that. I just don't know when. And honestly, the next thing I did, because guys, I'm just going to be upfront with you. I cannot afford to get sued. I could not afford to be in Betty's place. I live on Social Security. There's no way I could afford a lawyer. I mean, no way. Not that I think I've done anything wrong anyway, but I'm just saying you don't know what's going to trigger anyone to do something like that, right? It seems to me that the lack of free speech, or the element of free speech is gone in this country, right? Now, I have never doxed anyone. I've never put their information out, anything like that. That is definitely illegal. So, I haven't done anything like that. But still, I don't trust that it couldn't happen, right? I'm hoping I've stayed under the radar enough that they'll leave me alone, but you never know. You never know. I don't go and just attack like some other people I've seen do. I mean, there's lots of things that I could have done if I really wanted to, but I don't, because that's not in my heart. That's not who I am. So getting back then to how did this all spiral so out of control? Because I really feel like there have been times when I feel like evil is winning in this case, as much as I hate to say it, right? Evil is trying to win, and it bothers me because this is about a missing child. And I get it. I get it. Somebody doesn't want him found. Somebody does not want Sebastian found. Because early on, guys, early on, what was the first big one? The Cajun Navy was threatened. Joe Petito was threatened. Searchers were threatened. Serpentine belts cut, tires flattened. People followed, searchers followed. And then people being sued, right? And then when At Night comes in and they try to do something about it all, it really just ballooned, right? And please don't get me wrong, I'm not saying At Night did anything wrong. I don't think anybody could have predicted what was going to happen. But it's gotten really bad. It's gotten really bad. Yeah, flyers were taken down. Even now, from what I'm hearing, they have been successful in getting some of the blip boards down. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what's being put out there. And that's the other thing, is it's hard to know what's true, what's not in this case anymore. Everything has gotten so muddled up in the hate and the garbage that it's really difficult to see the light in all the darkness, right? So we look at all the inconsistencies in their statements, right? But what was the turning point? When did it take that dark turn? What do you guys think? Was it the threats? Or was it Chris's anger? Where was the beginning where it took the dark turn to just a road toward hurtling 90 miles an hour toward the darkness. That's all I can say. Hello, show poodles. So what are your thoughts? When do you think that this case took that dark turn? Where did it start? Was it the angry interviews? Was it the inconsistencies? Was it the threats? I think it was before the lawsuits. But tell me what you think. I really want to know what your thoughts are. Because it did take a dark turn. I'm really curious, guys. It took a dark turn the minute Edgar entered the pic. It was a slow rolling train wreck. That's kind of where I was going with it, was the anger. Was it even before that? Was it even before Sebastian went missing? When the PIs that were loved by some creators were fired? Hello, K9. I'm sorry. Aw. Well, I hope you feel better, hon. And Robin says it was CP not wanting Sebastian around. Was this case always going to be dark because of what happened surrounding his disappearance? CPS reports, DV violence, child abuse allegations. Was it dark already? I mean, I seriously started thinking about that, and I thought, I was having a hard time putting my finger on just when this turned bad, right? Because when we first got into it, like, okay, missing child, we got to find this kid, right? But it didn't take long. Guys, I don't even think it took a month for us to see that there was evil. There was evil in this case, right? If we're going to look at the case itself, the fight over the GoFundMe was the beginning of Crispy and his rage attacks. Yeah. Yeah, that set him off, right? Because Seth didn't follow his narrative, right? Seth didn't follow his narrative. Show poodles. Granny, look at the Christmas parade trial. That guy was a slow rolling train wreck his whole life. I have said since very beginning, Edgar is a Daryl Brooks with money. You bring up a really good point. Waukesha is not that far from me, guys. Honestly. You bring up a really good point. I would have never looked at, because I really do feel like Daryl Brooks is mentally incompetent. There's something wrong with him, honestly, in my opinion. I don't think Chris is mentally incompetent. I think Chris is ignorant, but he thinks he's smart. And that's dangerous. Yes, because he's a narcissist, Melissa. I think CP thought at first he could talk himself through it and people would believe him. He realized others could see through him and his fear of prosecution set him off. Yeah. I mean, from the get-go, it's about protecting themselves and making themselves look like good parents. From the very first interview. From the very first interview, guys. It's been about protecting themselves. Yeah. Daryl Brooks was angry his whole life. Hi, Pam. Good to see you. You're still in the hospital. I hope you're doing better, though, hon. The moment Crispy met his lady boss in the Navy, the moment he got introduced to Sebastian's life, is that when it turned dark. Because that's when Katie's allegations came out, was after she met Chris, right? Good point, K9. I think they thought people would never pay much attention and it would go away with the runaway story. But yeah, Chris made himself famous. And he's proud of that. Brooks thinks he is smart also. Yeah, I know. But he is obviously not mentally there. You know what I mean? There's a difference in his demeanor and his behavior than in Crispy Edgar's behavior, right? You know what I'm saying, show poodles? I definitely get what you're saying about the correlation between the two. I do. But I just think that Daryl Brooks is mentally unstable. Chris is not mentally unstable. He's a narcissist. He knows, exactly what he's doing. Daryl Brooks, I think, sometimes doesn't know exactly what he's doing. I think, yeah, I think there's something severely wrong with his brain, honestly. Yeah, I agree with you, Robin. You're better than yesterday. That's good, Pam. I'm glad. I've been praying for you. Yeah, exactly, K9. He's eating up all this attention. He thinks he's a celebrity now. He pops on and speaks on panels because he thinks he's doing these people a service, right? He has said it multiple times. When I jumped on your panel, your viewership went up 1,000 people. That's because everybody wants to hear him go off. You never know what you're going to get when Chris is on a panel, right? You never know if he's going to be going off the rails or if he's going to be playing nice guy for a change, trying to make himself look good. The last one was that he knows he's an a-hole, but he doesn't know how to change it. Oh, give me a freaking break. He actually said that. He knows he's won, in my opinion, but he just doesn't care. Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure he was, Ginger. Crispy was probably devaluing Seth for being a stay-at-home dad. I'm sure he was. He thought less of him as a man for staying home with his son. Oh, always, Pam, always. Guys, you should do your prayers daily. Please, please keep Pam in your prayers. Okay. She's had heart trouble and she needs our help. He didn't fall into any DMS-5 category, hence why he was not allowed to plead guilty by mental deficit. Interesting. I still say there's a big difference in his behavior compared to Chris's. But that's interesting. Interesting. But, and for those of you who don't know about, does anybody not know about the Daryl Brooks trial and what he did? He was a guy who, in Waukesha, Wisconsin, just a couple hours away from me, we're having a Christmas parade, and if you know any small towns, they'll block off a certain number of streets downtown, right? And cars are not allowed to go through there. Well, he went barreling through, aiming and hitting people. It was horrific. It's horrific. Let me see if I can find. Okay. So let's see if I can share my screen. Let me get out of here. You guys see that all right?
At no point in this video do I hear the horn honking.
But you did, in fact, hear the vehicle honking.
This is Daryl.
Officers there too.
Jury will disregard at least the attempt to testify by.
Any point were you able to hear the horn honking in that video, sir?
No, I was not.
Thank you. I don't have any other questions.
All right, thank you. You may step down.
Oh, and guys, just for reference, he's one of the idiots that decided to represent himself. There he is. So basically, that's what he did. There's, it's just your typical small town parade where everybody is there. You saw that the marching band was ahead of him. I don't know how far ahead of him now at this point, but he came barreling through there. He hit, many people. And yeah, he's, and here's a video of him laughing.
The basis for your objection, you said objection, right?
Is hearsay and irrelevant.
Is it being offered for the truth of the matter asserted?
Well, it's a statement by a party opponent, so it's not hearsay.
Oh, it's his statement, sorry. I think I misheard what she said. All right. The objection is overruled. If it's, she may testify as to words that you spoke on this occasion. Go ahead.
He told Erica that he was gonna find her and he's gonna kill
her. Could we pull up Exhibit 5 for the witness, please?
And those were his antics all the way throughout the courtroom. Even though he was representing himself, guys, he he was taken out of the courtroom and had to appear by Zoom. I mean, he was an idiot, no doubt about it. It was muted. Sounds like everybody's getting sick. I'm sorry to hear that, chemistry. Yeah, they're not exactly the same. Similar traits, yeah, probably narcissism. Brooks flamed out at 40. His Edgar, no, because Edgar's 41 and he's still going strong. Let's see what else. Anyone who represents themselves at trial has an idiot for a lawyer. Yeah, very definitely. Very definitely. Yeah, no problem. No problem. How did we get on Daryl Brooks? According to Christie, his spokesperson was a lawyer from the moment Sebastian disappeared. Yeah. And guys, if I'm thinking about where Sebastian's story, not the case, not when he went missing, but Sebastian's story, where did it take a dark turn? When Chris Proudfoot came into his life. That's my opinion. I'm not saying Katie was a perfect mother. I don't know, right? We don't know that for sure. We know that she allowed some things in that household that she shouldn't have allowed. We know that. you know, she made a huge mistake by getting involved and marrying Chris, in my opinion. But in Sebastian's story, not the case, not the missing persons case, nothing. His story is when the darkness came in, when Chris came into his life. That's what I think. Yeah. What would have happened if she never met him? What would have happened if he never went in the Navy? He never would have met Katie because she lived in California with Seth. He was from Hendersonville, Tennessee. But then, I mean, would she have stayed with Seth? I don't know. Right? Because we know that she was already seeing Chris. I mean, if we're really going to look at when did the darkness come in, that's what I think. That's what I think. Yeah. Nina said she wished she'd never met him. You know, hindsight's 2020 though, guys, right? What was it about him that endeared women to him? I'm sorry, I don't see it. I do not see it at all. She would have. That's kind of what I was thinking too. Show poodles. I like what you said. She would have met a different jerk. Well, I mean, we've heard they were swingers, right? Greener grass and all. Yeah, we heard they were swingers. Evidently, she likes that kind of thing. I don't know if Seth does or not. I don't know. That's not my business. But the fact is, she likes more than one partner, right? We don't have any evidence that Seth goes that way. We don't know. Not our business. Even this isn't our business, except for the fact that she brought Chris into Sebastian's life. She's the one that did that. So think about it, she has repeatedly done things that has put Sebastian in harm. And the first biggest one was bringing Chris around him. The second one was the young man that essayed him when he was 8 years old. The third one was allowing Chris to abuse Sebastian. And the fourth one was when Sebastian went missing. It's a good way to put it. Just he was the dark clouds that covered Sebastian's bright, sunny personality. And he did. He had a bright, sunny personality, right? You are so right, Melissa. The women on panels builds his ego. They really do. Why? Oh, guys, I'm sure you have too. I've heard him try to be charming. Does it fool you? Seriously. Have you heard him trying to be charming? And does it fool you? I want to know. Tell me in the comments. Put a 1 in the chat if it doesn't fool you. put a 2 in the chat if you think he can be charming. So what does that mean, K9? What is your... I like this one, Pam. I can't compute charming and CP in the same sentence. He can be charming, but it doesn't fool me. Oh, he tries to be. I've heard him. I mean, I have heard, oh, he gets so silkily, very silky sweet. Oh, makes me want to gag. But seriously, K9, for the first time in this case, my opinion is starting to change with the things I'm hearing lately. What is your opinion? What are you? He's a gross narcissist. Okay, so I suppose, say you're at a grocery store and you're looking over some fruit or something, and he's standing there and he looks up and says hi, and he's doing his silky sweetness, right? You've never met him before. Would you fall for that? Because you see, I think I'm jaded. I would see through that in an instant, and I'd be like, get yourself gone, jerk. I want nothing to do with you. Maybe the next girl will fall for it, but not me, buddy. He's a high school bully, yeah. I've always thought he was removed at 3 a.m., and I'm starting to think he never made it home. G-double-L to the no. Oh, Pam. That is so sweet. Thank you for gifting 5 Granny's Crime Buster memberships. I appreciate that so much. And to those of you who may have gotten those memberships, please be sure to thank Pam.
Granny wants to thank you all for kindness in the chat. Super stickers, bright and grand, gifts of love we understand.
Memberships you gifted here spread the joy and banish fear. Every super thanks you send warms her heart and ends the end.
Granny cheers with love so true for each special thing you do. Thank you from her heart. You all play a major part.
Thank you, Pam. You're a sweetheart. It's so sweet. So, So you guys are flip-flopping on that. I really would like to hear the audio or video, whatever it is that they have of Sebastian being in the car as they're pulling into the garage that night. I really would like to hear that. Oh, Chemistry Queen, thank you for your 1999 super chat. Much love. I did my laugh. And I do that laugh without even thinking, so that's so sweet. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. And did everybody's pets get scared? If they had it, they would have leaked it. I don't know. Law enforcement has kept a lot of things close to the vest, guys. So, I mean, I don't honestly know. I would really, if that is available, I would really like to hear it, because that would put to rest if he made it home or not, right? I will say this. The original sheriff that was on the case before he died was said that that young man made it home and never walked out of the house on his own. And I trust that sheriff. And I think that I don't think his fall was an accident, in my opinion. I could be wrong though. And Ginger said, I have always thought he never made it home in the 3 a.m. car was bringing his clothes back. Well, so does the 3 a.m. car, K9. The 3 a.m. car lines up with Dog and Nick thinking he was put somewhere as well. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm not against looking at the theory that he never made it home. But then, I mean, there's a lot of questions that aren't answered. Nick suggested he was sent to a neighbor's home and left from there. You mean the guy behind him? "10 more days till your birthday." That's awesome, K9. Nick suggested he was sent to a neighbor's home and left from there. 10 more. Of course, the channels he goes on are, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm not against thinking that he did that, but then, you got to wonder about the shoes, jacket. I mean, really, they're gonna take the chance. If they got rid of him after TRH, are they really gonna take the chance of coming back at 3 a.m. with the clothes? Why wouldn't they have just switched the clothes out when they switched him out after TRH? See, that doesn't make any sense to me. Oh yeah, I've always believed it was her. Hello, Noni. Good to see you. That took out the trash. And yeah, I heard somebody else saying, was it just today, that CP and Sebastian have the same type of walk. Because if you remember, at TRH, Sebastian had a short sleeve t-shirt on, and Katie had on a hoodie, long sleeve hoodie. Yeah, me either, Ginger. They didn't come into my radar at all. I mean, even if I would have popped in there, I would have heard language and some of the stuff being talked about that they talk about, and I would have said, oh, no, sorry, see ya. Right? I mean, that just would have been what I would have done. Yeah, I heard that too. Wasn't it was that it? Did Mob Crew say that? Was that on Mob Crew? I don't blame you, K9. I've watched them roundabout ways through other people because of something that might have been said or something like that. Usually from like War Eagle, Hindsight, 5D, something like that. Mob Crew and Hindsight. Yeah. Yeah. Did she walk like him? Is that what you're asking, Chemistry Queen? That's what somebody said. I've never I guess I didn't pay much attention to how she walked, right? I don't know. Um So I don't know for sure. I'd have to really take a look at how she was walking. Let's see if we look at what was it? Nick the Hat video. Just trying to figure out. I don't know. Okay. Let's look as they're walking in on this one to see. You guys see that all right? To see if they walk alike. Wasn't long enough. All right, now they're walking out. Let's try that one. Is she walking on her tiptoes? They're going too slow. Because Sebastian walks on his tiptoes, balls of his feet. See? See how he walks on the balls of his feet? So no, it's not that one. bounty hunter. I think it's the official bug bounty hunter. There we go. Okay. So I think this one I think they're already inside because I think that's Katie's car. Somebody said this was Chris. I don't know if that's true or not. No, that is not Chris. So, guys, people have been putting out that this is Chris. That's not Chris. I'm going to back it up a little bit. And you can definitely see when he looks full-fledged. First of all, he's got glasses. See? That is not Chris. Okay, now they're going to be walking out here. Yellow jacket guy. I don't know. So we haven't seen her walk enough, in my opinion, to be able to tell that. Okay, let's see. It looks like I missed a lot. I just heard Crispy say that the chromosome deletion that Sebastian had was recently added to the autism spectrum, and that is how he got the diagnosis. Well, I also heard him saying that ADHD and all the other initial issues with children are all coming now under the autism spectrum, which is total bull. He does not know what he's talking about. So, I mean, honestly, let's see. Is the chromosome deletion syndrome now under the autism spectrum? Huh. It could be. Sounds kind of like it. He may not be lying about that one. There are so many quizzical things. Yeah. You know, many people have suggested that, Noni, so I I don't know. I agree with you, Robin. Beginning to believe that they found something in the landfill, but they need a solid case. They want Sebastian, I believe, and we need a better DA. Oh, that's a really good point, Robin. If there was ever anything wrong like that with Katie, she wouldn't have made it in the Navy, and she wouldn't have made it to an E5. That's funny. My girl's dad walked on the balls of his feet. I never thought anything of it. I thought just, because some people have distinct ways that they walk, and I thought, oh, he was an excellent, like a star basketball player in high school, right? And then he played in muni leagues and stuff after. And so I never really thought much of it, but he did. He walked on, and in fact, so much so that he would leave his shoelaces unlaced, untied. He always wore tennis shoes, and he always kept them because of the way that he walked. I'm not sure we will ever know what happened unless they find Sebastian. All it takes is one person to see him. That's why I think it's important that his picture's out there constantly. Yeah, exactly. She would not have made it to an E5 in the military if there's something wrong with her. I understand, K9. My son has a little bounce in his step. He's just too happy in this world. Yeah. I'm not sure it's eating him up. I think he's involved. Just a swing, and you know that song. Oh, they did. The chromosome deletion, I think that they diagnosed that when he was born. They've known that all along. And then it wasn't long after, I think, that he was diagnosed with ADHD. They just recently got the autism diagnosis, which I think Chris and Katie pushed for in order to get him in some kind of a home that they wanted to put him in, remember? And maybe because of the chromosome deletion, if it's true that that's become a part of the spectrum, then maybe that's why. Diagnosed with epilepsy. That's sad too. That's sad. And that's so sad about your 10-month-old grandson chemistry. I feel so bad about that. Must be really hard. I can't even imagine that. Can't even imagine that. Sebastian had enough to deal with this chromosome deletion and the ADHD, right? But he had a father who was willing to do what it took, right? Seth was there with him day in, day out. He was trying to teach Sebastian everything, right? That was, to him, that was a rite of passage. He enjoyed teaching his son how to do things, right? It bothers him now that Sebastian's been gone for over a year, that he hasn't been able to teach Sebastian how to shave, right? Just little things like that, make it hard for him when he thinks about his son. And so I think about the fact that Sebastian already had so much to deal with, but then Katie brings this man into their life. And it was all downhill from there. Same as with Nina. Nina brought that man into her life, and he beat her children. He tried to take their child away from her. Tried to play mind games with her. You name it, right? Yeah. Yeah, exactly. We do what we have to do. That's absolutely correct, right? A man that was waiting for Katie to show up, he wasn't black at the TRH, Robin. The one that I saw, let's see if I can find it. It was, it's right here. They took a screenshot of this, and they're acting like this is Chris. And that's not Chris. It's obvious it's not Chris. It's like, and Chris has gone through multiple glam ups. Well, it's not Chris. So I'm just saying that is what I've seen out there, guys. So that's why I pointed out, since we were showing the video, that no, it's not Chris. But yeah, I mean, there's two women right there who had children by another man that married Chris, and at least one, is sorry that she ever met him, right? The other one, I mean, I don't know what Katie thinks at this point. I've heard they're split up. I don't know if that's true. I heard they show up in different cars when they go to court or whatever, or go to interviews. I mean, I don't know if all that's true, or if they're still together. I have no clue. It doesn't really matter at this point. If they're split up, they're split up. Because in my opinion, whoever took Sebastian at some point is going to pay the piper. They're going to be arrested. and it doesn't matter where they are. I just hope police are keeping an eye on whoever they suspect. Because remember, Brian Laundrie got away right under the police nose, right? They said they had him under surveillance, and evidently not. They thought that when he left that it was Roberta. Like, Roberta is short. Brian was tall and skinny. No, I don't think so. Because they're not in the military anymore. Pension kicks in later, and I mean, I could be wrong, but my husband was a Marine. And his military pension did not start when we were still married. So, you don't just get, once you get out of the military, you're not getting those benefits until it's like a certain age that you get your pension benefits. But the military benefits that you get when you're married and in the military, you receive those at the time that you're in the military. But once you're out, you don't get those. Does Chris work locally now? I don't know. I thought the type of job he has, where he's a tower crane operator, he works with the union, and so he has to sign up, and then they'll say, okay, we got these jobs open, if you want any of these, you don't want to go here, 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 or here, right? And that's the way it worked with the electrical union. So he has to go where the work is, right? The only work I see him doing is crushing the internet channels. That's really true. But if there's no work available, then they're on unemployment, right? So, but at some point, if work becomes available, he can only be on unemployment for so long. He wouldn't be able to turn down jobs at some point, right? He would have to be chemistry. If he was out of town like before, he would have to be, right? He would have to be. Unless there was a need for a tower crane operator in Hendersonville, or like Nashville, then he could be home every night, right? Hendersonville, tower crane operator, I don't think would be needed. But I don't know. Nashville maybe, if they're building big buildings or something. There are a lot of meds for ADHD, like Ritalin, and then for his autism, which was later on in his life, he had to be on something else. I can't remember. I just heard him talking about it again. He was on a medication for his ADHD that did suppress his appetite, and Chris would not say the name of it because of HIPAA, guys. Yeah. All right. But but he did say it was for his ADHD, and it helped him focus, which makes me sound like it was Ritalin. But it suppressed his appetite. And so the doctor said, on the weekends, when he's not in school, he doesn't really have to take it. It was up to them. And then he was on a medication at night to be able to sleep. So, the odds that he's on any of that right now, where he's at, I don't know. I have heard that too, Robin. She ended up in the hospital. I don't remember the name of the woman. Hello, Chickie. Well, welcome in. We're happy to have you. We're happy to have you. So, yeah, as far as how the Sebastian Rogers story took a dark turn, in my opinion, the answer for that is when let me see here. Was when this man right here came into his life. Not even Katie's life, into Sebastian's life. That's when Sebastian's story took a dark turn, in my opinion. Just my thoughts. So I did want to share with you my grannyism for today. When there is darkness, there are all kinds of evil things happening. Rebellion is there, and corruption is happening. Yeah. Kind of fits it to a T, doesn't it? Because we've all suspected corruption. Rebellion, you could look at things like why were there threats out there for the searchers? Why do people not want Sebastian to be found? They've done everything that they could to keep this kid from being found, right? But what they didn't count on was Sebastian's army not giving up, right? They did not count on Sebastian's army not giving up. That's so true, Ginger. I have never seen a step-parent take control over a child from both parents before. I have been amazed with the things that have been said in this case. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, seriously, guys, think about it. I was divorced and remarried. My second husband he did not speak for me or my children. Okay. So if one of my children would have went missing, he wouldn't have spoke for me. He wouldn't have made a parenting plan. Me and their father were responsible for my kids. And so Ginger has a really good point here. It is not up to Chris to talk for Katie. I don't care if he thinks he's defending her. Katie needs to talk for Sebastian. Seth needs to talk for Sebastian. Seth has been. But Chris thinks that it's up to him, what, to be a go-between? Yeah, I think he thought he could control Seth too. But he discovered his threats were not going to work. He quickly discovered that. For someone that wasn't there, he sure knew everything. Yeah, I agree. He wrote the parenting plan. Kay talked him out of throwing Sebastian's things away. Yeah. I don't know who. I mean, that is right. It's a clear example of a narcissist. Clear example of a narcissist. Right? He's going to come in. He's going to control everything. Everything's going to be his way, his narrative, everything. To HE double hockey sticks with everybody else because it's his way or the highway. Right? So, so one of the other things that I wanted to talk to you guys about is I'm thinking of, because everybody knows everything about the Summer Wells case, and I'm just touching the outskirts of it now. I'm starting to get into it and see what it's all about. I'm thinking of doing a membership only video with Summer Wells and doing a timeline thing and then having you guys fill in more details for me and we'll go from there. Also, we are at, I think before we got on tonight, we were at like 1453, something like that for subscribers. And so we're getting really close to the 1500. When we get there, we will do a members only live. We'll have a giveaway. We'll play games and just have fun. Forget about all the dark stuff for a while. Yeah, and the case that Chemistry and Ginger are talking about is another case that's out of Nova Scotia. It's Ginger's been talking to me about. I haven't really gotten into it yet because I've been trying to figure out what to do about Sebastian's case and what to do, and getting into the background of what happened with Summer Wells, which, guys, that case is something else. That's so sad. The RCMP don't believe they're alive. That's so sad, guys. No possible abduction then in that case? A big branch just fell out of the tree and your dog is going wild tearing it up. That's funny. About the kids in Canada. Gotcha. Aw. Well, here's what frightens me a little bit. I know there are other cases out there. So, I mean, that's why I feature Chew every day, right? And it's scary, right? It no doubt about it. It is scary. And I'm afraid, and this is why I go back and forth on Sebastian's case, because when you speak about it, you take the chance of being sued. I'm just putting it out there. You just do. But if you don't, and if you start covering other things, then he falls to the bottom of the algorithm, and his face isn't seen much. And we all know what happens in those kind of cases. They end up falling by the wayside. And look at Summer Wells. She's not talked about as much, right? She's brought up here and there, but at one point in time, I hear her case was just like Sebastian's, where everybody was talking about it, right? And almost as crazy as Sebastian's case, Scott, right? So that's the thing that I do not want to see happen in Sebastian's case, because he deserves better, and because I do believe he's still out there, and because I do. Here's the difference that I see in Sebastian's case compared to Summer Wells' case. Exactly. That's exactly what I was going to say, K9. Summer didn't have a Seth. We have Seth, who is heartbroken and wants his son home. I don't see that in the little bit that I have watched of the Summer Wells case. I do not see that in the Wells at all. In either one of them, I do not see that crying and that hunger for their child to be home. I do not see that in either one of them. No, I haven't even gotten into statement analysis on them yet. So, and I'm still trying to keep my mind open about who may be responsible. I don't know, right? So, you guys are going to help me with that. But exactly, Summer didn't have a Seth, and that's the difference between those two cases. Summer didn't have a Seth, right? And Seth doesn't want it to drop. You know, and I fear, because we don't get much out of At Night anymore because of all the threats that they've had on their lives. They say they're still working the case. They assured me of that, but they are not giving up. But now we see even people taking down the billboards, getting those taken down. So, it just bothers me so much. Yeah, Seth won't ever let it go. But it becomes a point of, what do you talk about? Seriously. You know, some days I just rack my brain to come up with anything, right? It gets really hard. Yeah. the wells have that hit in the head with a shovel kind of thing. Yeah, so I don't know. I'm looking forward to getting to know more about the Summer Wells case, right? I am. Even though I'm late to the game, it doesn't hurt to talk about Summer Wells because she's still missing, right? She's still out. Well, she's out there somewhere, you know, whether she's alive or not, she's out there somewhere. And she needs to come home. You didn't know the billboards were coming down. That's what they're saying, but I don't know if it's true or not. Yeah, at night has gotten quiet, but yeah. Well, that whole side is because they feel like they've won the case, the RICO case. And so they've gotten, if possible, more obnoxious than ever. And, you know, I'm not going to discuss the RICO case because I wasn't a part of it. And in my opinion, that's kind of off to the side from trying to find Sebastian. So, you know, when it comes to legalities, I don't want to make statements on something that I really don't know what's going on with it, right? I don't know if that night was right, wrong, indifferent. I don't know, you know. But hello, Lolo. Good to see you. But, you know, yeah, it is what it is. So, I don't want to see Sebastian's case go away. And it is true. If you don't talk about it, hello, Juicy. If you don't talk about it, then it drops in the algorithm. And it takes a while to get it back up there again. So that is really true. And I have seen more people talking about other cases, which, don't get me wrong, I agree. Other missing cases have to be talked about. That's why I've started doing the spotlight on the missing because of that. Especially when I found out how many are missing from Tennessee. Yeah, Alyssa, I really appreciate you, but we're not going to go into talking about other creators here. That's a good point, Show Poodles. I will say this, shame in the local community. Everything starts and ends with your own community. It does. But I think they're running scared, Show Poodles. Honestly, I really think that the community is scared. It's obvious to me that there is corruption that goes on in that community. And you know, I think that people are scared. So I heard that Mr. Crispy loves the food train and is a walking billboard for them. Yes. Yeah. He's been pushing the food train. Very, very receptive to that. I don't know. Very interesting. But anyway, guys, that's all I have for tonight. We're heading on 2 hours here. So I wasn't sure if we'd have that much to talk about, but we did. That's awesome. So I want to thank you guys for being here. Please, please, please hit the like button on the way out. I would really appreciate it. And we will see you tomorrow night. Have a great night. Thank you for watching another episode of Granny's Crime Busters. We really appreciate each and every one of you. Don't forget to subscribe and like and even share the content. You can follow us on any of our other social media platforms at YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. We really appreciate you guys, and you can also email us at granniescrimebusters@gmail.com. Thank you so much, and we will see you on the next one. Thanks, guys.